His family has 6 degrees from the university. Jack has spent his life caring for people, and he spent his career working and teaching and writing in all campuses of the university. We are really, really thrilled, Jack, to have the opportunity to work with you in the future. And we know that you will always be focused on the institution and how to make her better. So on behalf of the Board of Regents, Jack, we welcome you to the board, and we're really, really thrilled that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pillen. Appreciate it.
In your materials, you have a copy of the minutes from the meeting on December 4th, 2020. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments on the minutes or corrections? Seeing none, please call roll.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore, Regent Schroeder. Sorry, Regent
Yeah.
Moore.
Yes.
Okay. Regent Schroeder,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. In compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, the board has posted a copy of the act at the front entry of the hall. At this point, I'd like to turn the meeting over to President Carter to introduce our speaker this morning. President Carter.
And you're muted.
Thank you, Regent Pillen, and good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to introduce our featured speaker for today's board meeting. I'm very pleased that we are joined by one of the shining stars of the University of Nebraska faculty, Dr. Gina Ligon, the Jack and Stephanie Koroleski Professor of Collaboration Science at the University of Nebraska at Omaha and co-founder and director of the UNO-based National Counterterrorism Innovation Technology and Education Center, NSITE. It was almost a year ago that we announced that UNO had been selected following a highly competitive national process to host this new Department of Homeland Security Center. Many of us were involved in that pitch under Dr. Ligon's leadership, and it was no surprise to any of us who know Dr. Ligon and are familiar with her work when UNO came out on top. Our selection confirmed that Nebraska really is, as Dr. Ligon has put it, the center of gravity for counterterrorism work. Dr. Ligon has spent her career studying extremist violence and has become a national expert in the field. She's quite literally on speed dial when the federal government needs insights on how terrorist organizations operate and what we can do to stop them. Unfortunately, you can pick up a newspaper any day of this week or last week or any other week and see that this kind of expertise and leadership is urgently needed. There's a great point of pride for the University of Nebraska to be leading the way when it comes to keeping our nation safe, and we are fortunate to count Dr. Gina Ligon as a colleague. Dr. Ligon is here today to tell us more about NSITE and update us on the center's work over its inaugural year. Dr. Ligon, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm honored to be here. I have always wanted to attend a Regents meeting. I didn't think it'd be from my home in Papillion, but here we are. If you could advance to the next slide, I think I'll remind everyone why we're here. As long as there is ideological violence in the United States, our center will exist, and it's important. This slide and the headlines that you see here really show you why University of Nebraska was selected for this center. If you see on the West Coast, events that happened over the summer that we would classify as terrorism, and then there's also events that happened on January 6th on the East Coast here. And so our charge from the Department of Homeland Security is to study any and all ideological violence that threatens the United States. Next slide. One of the things that I thought would be important for the Regents to understand is how we were selected. It's a fair question. How did University of Nebraska at Omaha get selected over 64 other very large universities who applied for this Center of Excellence? And so it's helpful for you to hear sort of the story of the milestones that got us here, and for you to also understand that winning the center was not the goal. It is another milestone to becoming the premier U.S. academic provider of counterterrorism research, technology, and education for the United States. Let me tell you how we got here and where we're going next. First, it's important for, I think, the Regents to really understand about how state funding played into our story. Many of you actually know about the Nebraska Research Initiative, or the NRI grants. In 2012, we won our first one of those. It's an internal grant competition from the state of Nebraska. And with that funding, we were able to collect data on a then little known group that became the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. That initial seed funding from the University of Nebraska got us on the radar from the Department of Defense. In the years that followed, I can't tell you how many times I briefed at federal agencies and Department of Defense officials to help explain the data that we had developed here in Nebraska that was unique and different. We also were able to invest in leading edge technology to be able to build our capabilities here at the university. You'll see one of our robots there, her name's Pepper, that your state dollars invested in. The second piece of this is having, honestly, a university leader, Dean Lou Pohl, who believed in this vision. You see, I'm an organizational psychologist. I actually sit in the College of Business at University of Nebraska at Omaha. And I do believe that using this organizational approach to study terrorist organizations can be a new and innovative way to defeat these violent groups. He believed in this vision, and he went out and not only helped support it academically, but also find the philanthropic community who would support it as well. You see Jack and Stephanie Koroleski there, who've invested heavily from the philanthropic and community standpoint to help make this vision a reality. And then finally, all of these things combined really made our application competitive when it came time to apply to be the Counterterrorism Center of Excellence for Department of Homeland Security. So what happens, and I won't go into the details of it today, but it's a very difficult selection process where you go through an academic panel of experts who review your application, and then you go through a DHS panel who reviews your application, and they down select it down to 2 finalists. And when we found out, actually the Monday before Thanksgiving break in 2019, that we were one of the 2 finalists, I can't tell you how much support our state gave us. It was literally all hands on deck for what's called a site visit, where a team from Department of Homeland Security came to Nebraska, flew in for 1 day. They said they wouldn't leave the building. They wanted to hear all day what we were going to do as a state to make this center a reality. Chancellor Gold, President Carter, then acting interim president Susan Fritz were all part of that day. And it really was an all hands on deck. It was as a Nebraskan, magical. We had our governor there, and I think what pushed us over the edge, and we did beat out University of Maryland, was the state support and the realization that if they gave it to us, then the whole state of Nebraska would be behind us. So it was a real day of pride. And like President Carter said, a few months later, we found out that we had been selected. So if you can advance to the next slide, we'll get into the true purpose of today. In my short time, I want to just be able to share with you what we're doing at the center, what a Center of Excellence is, so you can talk about it to people in our state. Of course, how it impacts students, and we want to be sustainable above and beyond these 10 years. So I think this is also a chance for you to learn how you could get involved. Next slide. So in 2002, the Homeland Security Act established a network of universities that were charged to help augment Department of Homeland Security in important mission sets that they had. So what this act did is it said that for each critical, strategically important mission for DHS, they needed to have an academic partner, a trusted agent who would develop a consortium or a network so that DHS would be able to reach into academia to be able to get help with strategic problems that they were facing. And so there are 10 of these. These stars on the list show the other centers of excellence, or COEs, and they're all around different mission areas. For example, one of the mission areas is the Arctic domain in Alaska. And so they're charged with researching the Arctic. Ours is the only one that's charged with looking at counterterrorism and domestic extremism in the United States. And so that's what you see for Omaha there. We also were charged with establishing a network of other university partners who could all be called together to problem solve on these strategic issues. And that's what these red dots are. Those are all of our partners. We have 18 of what I can tell you are the leading counterterrorism researchers in the country that are all part of this umbrella. And it all runs out of University of Nebraska at Omaha. So it's a really exciting honor to have this designation for our university. My role as the director, my salary is actually paid by Department of Homeland Security now. So my job is actually to understand the mission sets of DHS and then go out and translate those into education programs and research projects for the university to be able to take on. So I am really supposed to be intimately aware with what DHS's priorities are around counterterrorism. Next slide. So because of that, I have identified these 4 different strategic areas that we are developing research and programming in. I could go on all day about the intricacies of each of these, but I think what might be more helpful for you is for me to share an actual project that we're doing right here in the state of Nebraska that will help sort of crystallize what these are. But if you're ever interested in a more in-depth briefing or discussion about what these actual areas are, I'd be happy to give that to you. Go ahead for the next slide. So of course, these centers of excellence are really there to inspire students as well. I don't know how many of you know my personal story, but I am from Western Oklahoma, and my parents were both public servants in education, actually. And so, you know, college would not have been possible and graduate school would not have been possible without scholarships for myself. And so I, like you, share this vision of making college more affordable for our students. And so one of the things that I am proudest of with this center is all of the scholarships and fellowships and graduate assistantships that are available to students who are willing to apply their degree and their academic horsepower to solve national security projects. And so we're about half social science, half STEM degrees. These students are all representations of ones who are at the University of Nebraska at Omaha who are being funded by this project, either as undergrad student workers, master's graduate assistantships, or doctoral students. And our goal is just to expand this. One vision that I have is to be able to establish sort of a scholarship for service model where we would be able to fund students who wanted to apply their degrees to national security issues and make it affordable for them to be able to attend the University of Nebraska. I really mean it that I want us to be the premier institution where people go to get training in national security issues. Next slide. So what are these students doing? I told you I'd share one project. There are many. But you know, we're supposed to lean forward and help Department of Homeland Security think about problems that maybe not are critical in the next 72 hours, but in the next 5 to 10 years are going to become significant security threats to our national security. So one project happening here at UNO has a variety of students and researchers on it, from criminology to IT innovation to public administration to psychology to business. We are really drawing on the academic horsepower of our university to work on this issue. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? After 2014 specifically, there were 131 individuals who were charged with federal charges related to terrorism for supporting ISIS. The gentleman down at the bottom, Amir al-Ghagi, was one of those. He was the one you might have read about in the news that had planned to detonate backpacks full of explosives around elementary schools in San Francisco. He had also planned to attack the routes where the emergency and first responders would have come to respond to the event that he created. He's serving now 133 months in federal prison as a result of this. The gentleman up at the top is Brandon Russell. He was a founder of Adam Waffen, a right-wing extremist group. And one of the charges that he had was actually to holding a weapon of mass destruction in his house. He had a picture of Tim McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bombing, on his nightstand. And he is up for release in September of 2021. So these two examples are problems that are going to be the United States issue. We charge these individuals, we put them in prison, but the reality is they are not going to be there forever and they're going to get out. And so how can we prevent them from re-engaging in terrorism? How can we make sure that they are no longer a threat to our national security or our safety in the United States? So this is just one of the big projects we're tackling and trying to help DHS think through. Next slide. So I mentioned at the very beginning, and I'll close it with this sort of tripart way that we won this grant. One was state investment, two was philanthropic support, and then three was an all hands on deck approach to when we do get the opportunity to showcase our abilities to the federal government. So how are we going to be sustainable? One is we have another initiative at the University of Nebraska at Omaha called the Big Idea Competition, and it was shared by Chancellor Gold and Senior Vice Chancellor Sasha Kopp, which was what kind of programs could we create at UNO to be nationally known? And one of them was to be nationally known for national security and counterterrorism. And so we won this internal grant competition to add 5 additional leading scholars in counterterrorism research to the University of Nebraska Omaha faculty. We have one who is placed. She's coming to us from the University of Alabama. She'll join us in the fall. And we have 4 more searches that are in various stages. And my expectation is that you will have 5 counterterrorism scholars at the University of Nebraska at Omaha who are leading experts in this domain. And so there's really no place like it in the country. So we are really building here. Next slide. The last piece is the continued philanthropic support. So this is where our new headquarters will be. This is the new addition to Mammal Hall at University of Nebraska at Omaha, and the second floor will all be Insight, which is a really incredible privately funded building that really sent a message to Department of Homeland Security that this was part of the deal if they awarded us. And so we're very excited to have our ribbon cutting this summer. We invite all of you to come, health conditions permitting, and it's going to be a great event with the highest levels of government in attendance. So continued philanthropic support for this work as well. And then last slide is simply my contact information. President Carter knows how to get a hold of me. So if any of you would like to hear any more about these projects or what we're doing at University of Nebraska at Omaha, I invite you to sign up for our newsletter and also follow us on social media. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Dr. Ligon. And I'm going to turn it back over to Chairman Pillen to continue on unless there are other questions or comments for Dr. Ligon.
I had one quick one, Ted. How do you fix someone that fills a backpack full of explosives to detonate at a grade school?
Yeah, it's, I don't know if you fix them. What you do is you can give them other ways to act on their beliefs. You know, this is the United States, so all of us can hold whatever beliefs we want. Our job is just to help people not to use violence to achieve them. And so we're really focused on the violence part of domestic terrorism as opposed to the belief system. And I think that that's a more viable pathway and more in line with sort of Nebraska's values and really why we won. So Great question. It's hard.
Regent Clare.
Two questions. First, congratulations. I mean, I think this is really an exciting project, and I think it's really awesome to think about. You know, the Department of Defense and other places, counterterrorism, when they have issues, they call 402, which I think is pretty awesome. Talk about the collaboration that you have with UARC. Because I imagine there's some overlap and some cooperation and partnering. And then secondly, with respect to Regent Kinney's question, I'm familiar with some law enforcement issues. CALEA comes to mind, where CALEA really is. We need to get the federal government up to the times. In other words, the San Bernardino killings there. We have a company here in Lincoln, Nebraska that identified exactly where that could identify that, but couldn't disclose the information for violating CALEA. And my question is, how much work are we doing to help with also changing laws to enable us to keep the country and the world safe?
Yeah, that's a great set of questions. I will tell you, you saw probably NSRI as one of our partners on the list of reach back capability that we have. I will also tell you they're one of the reasons we won. Bob Henson and Rick Evans were there the whole day of the site visit. They were part of the all hands on deck approach. And really one of the differentiators that we were able to present to DHS, honestly, was our capacity to do classified work in this space. And when you talk about counterterrorism research, you really need to have that level of understanding. Not that all of our research needs to be that, but it was a differentiator for our state to win it. The second piece about legislation, as we move forward, if you look at DHS's mission, it is to get state, local, tribal, territorial partners to be both informed from an information sharing, but also give them all the tools and capability to be able to investigate these. And so that is a significant role for our center, is to help to advocate for policy. I know that we are meeting with Don Bacon's staff in a couple of weeks about a very important policy about domestic extremism that we are trying to advocate for on behalf of our state. So yes, we are right in the center of trying to make policy work, to your point. So thank you for bringing that up.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. We appreciate you being here this morning and all your work. Thank you. Congratulations. We'll move on. The next portion of our meeting is a longstanding tradition of saying thank you, the Kudos Award, saying thank you to people who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, making a difference for our faculty, for our students. It's just a great opportunity to say a big thank you on behalf of the board. And I think the thing that's really, really cool about this recognition is that the recipients are voted on and honored by their peers. And I don't know if there's anything better than when your peers recognize you for doing great work. So our first kudos recipient this morning is Megan Frieda from the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and the award will be presented this morning by Regent Schaefer. Regent Schaefer.
Morning. On behalf of the Board of Regents, I'm pleased to recognize Megan Frieda, UNK Director of Academic Resources and Institutional Resources. A 19-year employee, Megan was first hired as a student worker in 2001 and as a full-time member of UNK's staff in 2003. She's done so many things. First, serving in the Center for Distance Education, then Video Services, then Informational Technology, then Institutional Research, and in 2018, she was promoted to her current position. Each move brought a new learning curve, a push out of her comfort zone, and invaluable experience. One of my strengths is dedication, Megan says, and I am very dedicated to UNK. Colleagues admire her enthusiastic, can-do attitude. She, excuse me, Senior Vice Chancellor Charles Bisick knows, excuse me, other strengths as well. She is a wonderful colleague who displays an innate intelligence, a high work ethic, and personable demeanor. That's a genuine trifecta of admirable traits, he says. Megan's work includes collecting and interpreting data, converting it into information to help achieve campus mission, and to enable its assessment, accreditation, and planning. It also includes responsibility for tactical and strategic direction of institutional research function and ensuring data accuracy and integrity. Assisting the Senior Vice Chancellor with fiscal and personal management and administration of digital measures, faculty information system. Though not her most recent project, implementation of digital measures and the corresponding interaction with academic colleges and faculty stand out as an accomplishment which brought special pride and satisfaction. Originally from Grand Island, Megan earned her undergraduate and master's degrees from UNK. She is a previous recipient of the UNK Staff Award for Excellence, currently serving on the university-wide benefit committee, and has also been on other committees as well. I truly love working at UNK, she says, and I'm super honored to have been selected for the kudos recognition, she also states. The Board of Regents is honored too to present this award to Megan for her outstanding service to the University of Kearney. Congratulations, Megan.
Thank you, Regent Schaefer. Appreciate it. And congratulations, Megan. Regent Claire will present the Kudos Award to Campus Operations and Safety at Kearney and the, Regent Claire will present the Kudos Award to Campus Operations and Safety and Preparedness Team from the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Regent Claire.
Thank you. It is truly a privilege to have this opportunity. When I spoke publicly, and I think others spoke publicly about the fact that UNL came out and said that they were going to have on-campus recruiting, I always gave kudos to Ronnie and his team. And today we have the privilege of honoring that team. I didn't know their names personally at the time, but they were truly the team and the boots on the ground folks that made this happen. So we're pleased to present a group kudos award to Joel Webb, Associate Director and Radiation Safety Officer for Environmental Health and Safety, Gabriel Hampton, Assistant Director for Building Systems Maintenance, Larry Shippen, Associate Director for Housing Facilities and Operation, and Jack Dorman, University Space Manager at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. With the rise of the current pandemic, significant challenges needed to be overcome to ensure that the University of Nebraska, Lincoln was prepared and positioned to be able to safely welcome back students on campus for the fall 2020 semester. As a result of the hard work of faculty and staff, UNL was one of the most in-person institutions for students in the country. Many individuals spent countless hours developing plans and guidelines that would ensure the safety of students, faculty, staff, and the greater campus community. Through an unprecedented level of cross-unit collaboration, boots on the ground efforts, and the leadership and coordination of Joel Webb, Gabriel Hampton, Larry Shippen, and Jack Dorman, these plans were translated into tangible actions that formed important cornerstones of UNL's preparedness. This group of trailblazers and their respective teams worked and collaborated at an exceedingly high level to ensure that housing units were made ready to use as isolation units if needed by the broader state community, and staff were properly trained and prepared to support these housing units. 1,200 hand sanitizer dispensers were designed, built, and strategically placed throughout campus. Plexiglass barriers were sourced, built, and installed at countless strategic locations across campus. All classrooms were measured and marked with an eye to safety and physical distancing, but grounded on teaching, delivery, and continuity. Faculty in all colleges and departments, as well as academic leadership, were involved at each step in the de-densification of classrooms to ensure they were part of the final configurations. General purpose classrooms and elevators were stocked and with sanitation supplies. Health and wellness supplies were sourced, made available to the campus community through UNL's online marketplace, and delivered efficiently. Logistical plans were put into place so goods, materials, and campus-wide shipments received at a central location while buildings were locked down and timely distributed throughout the campus. Planning tools and building infrastructure were in place to support safe resumption of research activities. Testing pods were constructed and placed to position the university for the spring semester. And the list could go on and on and on, but you get the idea. They were tremendously involved to keep the students safe, keep the faculty safe, keep the staff and administration safe, while providing a top quality education. The cross collaboration, dedication to the university and its citizens, and outstanding leadership demonstrated by these individuals representing business and finance and student affairs exemplifies the "in our grit, our glory" spirit of UNL. They are also an example of exemplary teamwork, creativity, and proactive attitude. Please join me in thanking Joel Webb, Gabriel Hampton, Larry Shippen, and Jack Dorman for their dedication to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you, Regent Claire. I think we'd be remiss if we wouldn't also think back to when this pandemic started. And I think President Carter, the first survey we received was that our students didn't say they hope to, want to. The word was 80% said they needed to come back to campus. And because of these teams, thank you for all your work that our students, and on behalf of the students, thank you for your work that they're able to come back. Too bad we couldn't scale your work and allow that to happen across the country. So thank you for your work. Cindy Norton from the University of Nebraska Medical Center is our next recipient, and Regent Schroeder will make the presentation. Regent Schroeder.
Good morning. Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Regents, I am pleased to present a kudos award to Cindy Norton, an administrative manager in UNMC's Department of Cellular and Integrative Physiology. It is a department she knows well, having joined UNMC and in fact this very department in 1980 as its secretary. Today, as administrative manager, she handles all of the department's grant submissions and does it so well that UNMC sponsored programs tell other departments to look to Cindy as a positive example of how to do things. Said her nominator, Cindy epitomizes excellence. She is always looking out for the good in the department and helping us to improve in all that we do. She has high standards and a strong commitment to help others, said her nominator. Of all the places I've worked, I have never received assistance to this degree with my grant submissions. An integral part of the department, Sydney also has developed ways for the entire team to better communicate with each other, which pre-COVID included initiating monthly lab tours to help labs within the department socialize. Sydney's nominator appreciates her calming influence and novel ideas to improve progresses and procedures within the growing department. Cindy is helping us to get to excellence. She goes above and beyond for our department on a continuous basis. Please join me in thanking Cindy for her commitment and outstanding service to UNMC and the Department of Cellular and Integrative Physiology.
Thank you, Regent Schroeder. Congratulations, Cindy. Harnoor Singh from the University of Nebraska at Omaha is our next recipient, and the award will be presented by Regent Moore.
Thank you. Yes, it's an honor to present this award to Harnoor. The Nebraska Board of Regents is pleased to present a kudos award to Harnoor Singh, Director of Student Development for the Walter Scott Jr. Scholarship Program within the University of Nebraska at Omaha Division of Student Success. Harnoor joined UNO in 2015 and was asked to lead the transformation of the Student Service and Leadership Collaborative, the Maverick Food Pantry, and the refreshing of the Walter Scott Jr. Scholarship, a premier and increasingly renowned development program for 128 competitively selected Nebraska high school graduates pursuing degrees in STEM fields. The program is a partnership between UNO and the Susan and Walter Scott Foundation with a mission to support and develop the future leaders of Nebraska through a living and learning community. Mentoring and coaching, programming, supplemental learning, including leadership and life skills, participation in impact community service, and connecting students to internships, employment, and other opportunities to apply their classroom skills to the community. An example of Harnoor's leadership of the development of the COVID-19 app created by 3 Scott scholars in partnership with Apple Inc. and UNMC. Another is his leadership in training students and community members in the Stanford design thinking process as applied to Nebraska-focused challenges and opportunities. Harnoor is an exceptionally talented colleague that is becoming an internationally recognized leader in optimizing undergraduate human development, said Wayne Watkins, Executive Director of the Susan and Walter Scott Jr. Scholarship Program. Harnoor is pursuing a PhD in higher education administration at University of Nebraska-Lincoln, therein practicing the lifelong learning and continuous improvement taught to Scott scholars. Through this hard work, creativity, and commitment to improving student development, Harnoor represents a true Maverick spirit that is an inspiration to those he works with and serves.
Thank you, Regent Moore, and congratulations. Is it appropriate to say soon to be Dr. Singh? Thank you. On behalf of the board, thank you again, everyone, for your services and dedication to the University of Nebraska. You are what makes the university so special. We'll move on now to the election of vice chair. According to our standing rules, the vice chair automatically assumes the position of chairperson at our annual meeting in February. As such, Regent Kenny will serve as chair for the Board of Regents during the year 2021. Now, I will entertain nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the Board of Regents that will be vacated by Regent Kenny. Regent Clare.
I would nominate Regent Bob Ferris.
Nomination for Regent Ferris to become chair-elect. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Regent Schaefer. So we have a nomination of Regent Ferris to become chair-elect. Are there any other nominations? And a second, is there any other nominations? And I'm not seeing everybody. If anybody is, would you please speak up in case I'm missing anybody? Hearing and seeing none, please call roll.
If we could take a motion on to close the nominations, please.
I'll make that motion.
And a
Second.
second. Thank you. All right, if there's no objection, we will dispense with the vote on the motion and declare nominations closed. Regent Ferris has been nominated to serve as vice chair. So we will call the roll. Regent Moore.
Yes.
Regent Schroeder.
Yes.
Regent Beal.
Yes.
Regent Miller.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Honored to, yes.
Regent Claire,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you, Stacia. Congratulations, Regent Ferries, and congratulations, Regent Kenny is now chair of the Board of Regents. The floor is yours, Regent Kenny.
I want to recognize on behalf of the board and extend our sincerest thanks to Jim Pillen for his leadership as chair during 2020. When Jim took over as chair a little over a year ago, it didn't seem like we were leading through unprecedented times. With all the uncertainty and challenges faced by the university in the past year, Jim has provided tremendous leadership for the board. The ability to lead the board during such times takes skill, dedication, and we'd be remiss if we failed to thank Jim for all he's done to support the board and the university. Jim, it is my pleasure to present you at some time the board gavel, which will make sure you get as soon as possible, as long as we have utmost appreciation for you and your colleagues on the board. Thank you.
Paul, I'll just say a couple things. One, I'd really like to thank all of my colleagues on the board, all of your work this past year. It's been a very, very rich experience for me personally. I have learned so much from you, a real privilege. Also think it's important we take a minute to thank our faculty for the extraordinary work that they've done this past year to be back on campus and with our students. We're really appreciative of that. I want to personally thank Chancellor Christensen and Green and Gold for all of their help and all of their work and all they do. Varner Hall team, I needed so much help that it wouldn't be for me to go through the entire list of everybody that helped me, but thank you to the Varner Hall team. And lastly, President Carter, thank you for all that you've done for our university and helped me through this process. So thank you to everybody. I appreciate it.
Jim, has been remarkable. Everything that you've probably missed out on not seeing us in person, and you know, the whole team has had to do things that we never dreamed we would do. So we congratulate the entire team, you included, since you know, you're stepping down to be past president. But thank you, Jim. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to President Carter for some remarks.
Well, again, good morning, everyone. And first of all, congratulations to all our kudos recipients. What an exceptional list of professionals across all of our campuses. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say a real hearty congratulations and thank you to Regent Jim Pillen for the work that he's done as our chair for the Board of Regents over the last year. It's just been a real pleasure to work with Regent Pillen. He's an exceptional leader and has really done a lot of really heavy lifting for our entire board, our university, and quite honestly, the entire state. And congratulations to Regent Kenny as our new chair. Looking forward to working with Regent Paul Kenny. I've gotten to know him really well over the last year, and certainly our new vice chair, Regent Bob Ferris, also a real ambassador for our Board of Regents, long serving, and looking forward to working with Bob. I have a few minutes here to reflect on the year that's been. I've been your president now for well over a year, as we're now into 2021. And I want to give you some perspective on some of the things we're going to be focusing on going forward. You know, there's certainly lots of hope and optimism for the new year. We're still very much in a COVID-19 world. The arrival of vaccine signals certainly a light at the end of the tunnel. We certainly have images of heroic healthcare workers taking care of all Nebraskans, making sure vaccines get into their arms. But, you know, there is a lot to look forward to as we go forward. And I'm really proud to tell you that in spite of the challenges over this last year, Nebraska is coming into this next year in a position of strength. We set ourselves apart by setting clear priorities, taking decisive action, and never losing sight of our mission to deliver affordable and high quality education to Nebraska students and families. You know, it was exactly 11 months ago to this day that we announced that all campuses would be transitioning to remote learning for the rest of the spring semester. Our world's literally turned upside down almost overnight. Our faculty reimagined their courses to accommodate 52,000 newly committed to online students. We canceled sports, concerts, we sent employees home, all while to protect our communities, our faculty, and our staff. Many institutions across the United States, as we all know, froze. They just wanted to see this go away. And sometimes that was their action going forward. But for us, that was never an option. We knew that higher education was going to change. Some of it was a much needed change. And this was the impetus to do it. I think COVID-19 has been a real wake up for higher education. And even though we'll get through this pandemic, I think higher education will probably never actually be the same. So what did we do as a university going back to last March? You know, we took some immediate actions, all in collaboration with our faculty, our staff, even our students, and certainly the Board of Regents. So I just really highlight how these all fit into our strategic priorities and even the 5-year strategy that we rolled out many, many months later. First, critical to our fiscal health, you know, we made enrollment our highest strategic priority. And that was to make sure that we took care of our workforce and our economy. We created Nebraska Promise. 7,000 students applied. In fact, it was a critical reason why we saw enrollment growth. We froze tuition for 2 years. We were the first institution in the United States to do that. We reduced tuition for online courses. Also the first institution to make such a significant move. 7% reduction in course per credit hour at Lincoln, 9% at Omaha. And we declared early on that we'd be open for the fall. And our faculty and staff made that happen. And in fact, I will tell you that as I talk to my peers around the country, they are in awe that we were able to keep our campuses open throughout the fall and that we made lessons learned from that over the spring, and we continue to be open. In fact, I will tell you, Chancellor Green has been in regular contact with his Big Ten counterparts. We didn't just successfully reopen last fall, we led the Big Ten in in-person education. All of our campuses have gone above and beyond in creating a safe, responsible learning environment for students. We've heard from them again and again how much they value being together on campus, as Regent Pillen indicated earlier before. We made changes to our academic calendar, created an opportunity for a winter mini session that was a huge hit with our students. Chancellor Green tells me that at UNL, over 4,000 students enrolled in 175 courses over the 3-week winterim. At UNK, Chancellor Christensen reported 600 students took at least one course during the winter session, generating a total of 1,500 credit hours. The so what to this is we made the most out of our opportunity and created a path for our students to find a faster way to get to their diploma goals. What a fantastic example of the innovation of our faculty, even in difficult circumstances. We'll continue to look at changes to the academic calendar with an eye toward expanding opportunities for the students. And that review will likely take us all the way through 2021 and even 2022. You know, the efforts paid off with enrollment growth across the system, including a growth among underrepresented students at a time when, unfortunately, the national data show that low-income, minority, and first-generation students have been disproportionately vulnerable to the uncertainties by the pandemic. We simply can't afford to have that happen here. Now is the time to expand access, not limit it. In fact, this year, we have enrolled the most diverse student body in the history of the University of Nebraska. 21% of our students are minorities. To have achieved a milestone like this during the pandemic may be one of our greatest success stories that we've been able to tell over the last year. You know, on the business side, we took immediate steps to meet the fiscal challenges created by COVID-19 head on. Simple overarching philosophy: be conservative, be responsible stewards of precious Nebraska taxpayer resources. Don't spend money we don't have. Short-term steps: we took hiring freeze, no travel, review of capital projects. We even took a 10% cut at central administration, the highest cut of any of our universities or cohorts. Our long-term plan, 3-year budget to lay the groundwork for future success. We took a self-imposed $43 million cut. This means difficult decisions, but we're rigorously holding ourselves to this. Positive enrollment news and one-time CARES money doesn't mean that we can show any less discipline on our spending. 2% request for state funding. We're going forward with this. This is a pragmatic, modest request to be good partners to our elected leaders in tough times. We're grateful to the Governor and Appropriations Committee for funding our request and looking forward to testifying before the committee on Tuesday. Internal reallocations will create opportunities to reinvest in strategic priorities. Nebraska Promise, salary increases for our talented faculty and staff. Freezes are not a sustainable strategy to recruit and retain talent. Other priorities identified by the chancellors. We will plan for all employees, bargain or not, eligible for a 4.5% merit-based increase by the end of the biennium. So let me talk a little bit about what we're going to focus on for 2021. As I mentioned, we released our 5-year strategy in August of this last year. And now this year, 2021, is where we're really going to start to put that into action. At the top of the list, and we will be going forward to the legislature on Tuesday, is to talk about deferred maintenance package. Now, this is really important. This is an issue that I would quite honestly say does keep me up at night, because this is all about the state of our facilities. And our students and faculty deserve to learn and work in world-class facilities. Unfortunately, like many institutions across the country, our facilities are aging. We have $800 million in backlog maintenance that we have on our table right now, and it gets more expensive every year. And the state has a vested interest. We actually own 70% of the state-owned buildings. That's 900 buildings, 600 of them at UNL alone. So the opportunity to get this corrected, not just in the short term, but the long term, is now. Record low interest rates, meaning we can pay now or pay a heck of a lot more later. So our proposal creates a long-term responsible strategy for addressing our deferred maintenance needs. The requirements set out in the legislation would allow us to take a big bite out of our $800 million challenge while ensuring we don't end up in this position again down the road. It is a prudent and strategic approach, benefiting our students, our faculty, and Nebraska taxpayers. Now, we're also going to work on workforce. We have plans for expanded internship opportunities for students to retain more of them here in Nebraska. Affordability, we'll make another push on Nebraska Promise, and we'll look at other ways to mitigate costs for students and families. In fact, you'll see and hear some of that in the information-only package today. And we're going to take care of our faculty. Bylaw changes to protect academic freedom that I will comment on in more detail when we get to that portion of the agenda. But I'll tell you, this is a great story of collaboration and shared governance. I can't say enough good things about our faculty senate leads and their team for their work throughout this entire process. Other plans in the works to support our faculty, who really are the lifeblood of our university, the reason that we are a world-leading institution. I will tell you more about our plans at a future meeting when we have a chance to put some more detail around them. We're going to do action to achieve the goals set out in our 5-year strategy and serve Nebraskans. Spring semester is off to a successful start. I want to give great credit to our chancellors and their teams for again creating robust plans for testing, tracing, and keeping students and faculty safe while also continuing to deliver in-person learning. Now, I was doing an interview the other day and I was asked about whether I use the word unprecedented a lot, because, you know, you hear that everywhere. And I tell you, I don't like using that word because, quite honestly, you just don't know what's coming around the corner. And we have heard that a lot. And maybe we don't know what's coming around the corner. And yes, these are unusual times. So there will be more challenges. But with the challenges comes opportunity. And as we've done in 2020, with those challenges, we've come out in a position of strength. And I can tell you, I could not be more excited about what we're going to be able to do in 2021. So I want to say again, thank you to the board. Thank you not only for your support, but your trust in me as your president, your trust in our chancellors, the partnership, our faculty senate presidents and their teams for their incredible leadership. We have special people here in Nebraska. This is a special place and great things are to come. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Regent Kenny.
Thank you, President Carter. At each of our board meetings, we offer an opportunity for public comment. In order to facilitate the public's participation in our meetings, we included a notice of this meeting, which is publicly posted 1 week ago. A request of any person wishing to speak at this meeting provided 24 hours notice to the Office of Corporate Secretary. This is done in order for each public commentator to receive instructions how to speak at this meeting by remote means. In accordance with section 7.1 of our standing rules, we allow to waive any or all the standing rules during the duration of this meeting, only at the meeting in which they are waived. I would like to call on Regent Weiss to present a motion to waive certain portions of our standing rules with respect to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Kinney. I'd like to move that in order to provide an opportunity for a larger number of persons to participate in the public comment portion of our meeting today, and for them to participate virtually, I move to waive these portions of the standing rules, which limit speakers to 5 minutes per person and the total comment time to 30 minutes for all speakers, as well as those portions that provide for the public's physical presence at the meeting. And further move that the chair of the board be authorized to preside over the public comment portion of this meeting in such a manner as will sufficiently and efficiently inform the members of the board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Stacia, could you call roll, please?
Regent Schroeder,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
The motion passes.
I want to review the plans for the public comment portion of the meeting today. We will hear from a number of speakers today, but also intend to conduct an efficient and orderly meeting. Therefore, each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, which will allow more people to express their opinion than normally provided in the standing rules. The corporate secretary will keep track of time and notify the speaker when 1 minute remains, and again when the speaker's time has expired. The total period for comment will be extended to accommodate all individuals who have asked to speak today. We have been contacted by several individuals wishing to speak this morning. When your name is called, please identify yourself. 3 minutes begin. Martonia Gaskill.
Ms. Gaskill, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute.
Good morning, President Carter, chancellors, and members of the Board of Regents. My name is Martonia Gaskill, and I am the Faculty Senate President at UNK. First, I'd like to thank each one of you for the opportunity to speak to you today and for all the great work you do for the university. This university is one of the greatest assets of the state of Nebraska. The University of Nebraska is well known for the high quality education, affordability, cutting edge research, highly qualified graduates who enter the workforce and make their mark in the world every day. This reputation has been built over the years and is the result of decades of great work. This reputation is what brings talent we see in our students, staff, and faculty. I'm here today to urge the Board of Regents to continue to support the greatest asset of higher education institutions, academic freedom. Academic freedom allows students and faculty to engage in debate and knowledge production without the fear of censorship. Academic freedom is essential to a thriving intellectual culture,
not just at the universities, but in the larger society that is informed by knowledge generated and shared by universities. The bylaw changes proposed by our UNL colleagues and supported by President Carter will ensure the University of Nebraska continues its central mission to the broader society through the creation of new knowledge and innovation and through political, economic, social, and technological progress. Academic freedom serves the common good. Again, thanks the chancellors, the Board of Regents, and President Carter for your commitment and continued support of shared governance and academic freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole Buon.
Thank you, Chairman Kenny. Good morning, Regents and President Carter. My name is Nicole Buon, and I'm Associate Professor of Biochemistry and Faculty Senate President of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. On behalf of the UNL faculty, I want to express our enthusiastic support for the NU bylaws amendments that have been submitted to you by President Carter. The proposal reflects many months of discussions and negotiations between faculty and administration. We first wanted to thank Chancellor Green for supporting our efforts to clarify procedures and Associate Vice Chancellor Judy Walker for working alongside UNL faculty to develop initial proposals. We thank Provost Fritz, Vice President and General Counsel Jim Podorf, and Senior Associate General Counsel Craig Hofer for working with faculty over many months to develop the proposed language. We also want to thank the faculty senates of UNK, UNMC, and UNO and their union leaders who played important roles in the effort. We especially want to thank President Carter for demonstrating his commitment to the shared governance process by taking all of his constituencies' concerns seriously and working to find a consensus. UNL faculty are pleased that the amendments are worthy of our status as a member of the Big Ten, which is a group of institutions with strong commitment to due process. The new bylaws provisions protect academic freedom to an extent that will allow our university to take the lead in issues that matter to Nebraskans. Academic freedom, the freedom to search for new knowledge and articulate the results of that search, is a crucial element of the process by which the state's investments in the university become usable knowledge. It's the means by which the university's classrooms, labs, and extension spaces create tangible products that change the world. Here are a few UNL examples of this. Faculty who develop new crop species and animal breeds. Faculty who develop software that more accurately predicts short-term weather and long-term climate trends. Faculty who use artificial intelligence to develop user-friendly computer interfaces that merge art and technology to improve accessibility for the able-bodied and disabled alike. Faculty who track down the cause of sick bees in their UNL beehives to polluters who risk the health of humans and the environment. Faculty who, through their scholarly or creative work and in their classrooms, inspire us to be better versions of ourselves. All of these faculty need the freedom to pursue truth in their teaching, research, and creative activity to the benefit of us all. They also need to be free to share what they learn with the rest of the world. Let us not forget that the primary beneficiary of faculty who exercise their academic freedom are the students of Nebraska. As a public land-grant university, our students learn from us and they create with us. We are excited that the amended bylaws will demonstrate to the world and our chancellor, our president, and our regents unequivocally supports its faculty to do what is right by each other. We ask you to support the proposal to amend the NU bylaws at the April meeting, and we look forward to a new age of Nebraska leadership on the world stage. Thank you.
Excuse me, I wasn't thank you, Nicole. Regina Wareham, please.
Ms. Wareham, you are now in the meeting.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks, Regina.
Good morning. Thank you.
Morning.
I'm Dr. Regina Wareham, Professor of Sociology.
I wasn't thank you, Nicole. Regina Wareham, please.
Oh, good morning. Thank you. I'm Dr. Regina Wareham, Professor of Sociology at UNL. My expertise is in educational policy and higher education. I also serve as the current president of the UNL.
Ms. Wareham, you are now in the meeting.
Can you hear me?
Ms. Wareham, if you are playing the meeting in the background, please mute it.
Hello? I am not
Yes,
mute.
we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Thanks, Regina.
Good morning. I apologize.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Regina Wareham, Professor of Sociology.
Regina Wareham, please.
Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Regina Wareham, Professor of Sociology at UNL. My expertise is in educational policy and higher education. I also serve as the current president of the UNL.
Ms. Wareham, you are now in the meeting.
Can you hear me?
Ms. Wareham, if you are playing the meeting in the background, please mute it.
Hello? Can you hear me? Good morning. I apologize. Thank you. I'm Dr. Regina Wareham, Professor of Sociology. Go ahead, Tammy.
Ms. Wareham, as a reminder, please mute
Good
your
morning.
background
I'm
meeting.
I'm terribly sorry. Did this work now?
Yes, we are able to hear
Hello?
you.
I am terribly sorry. May I talk?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Regina Wareham, Professor of Sociology at UNL. My expertise is in educational policy and higher education. I also serve as the current president of the UNL AAUP chapter, but I'll wear a different hat today. Changing organizational rules involves balancing the mission of the institution with optimizing the experiences of its constituents. To that end, I often turn to a foundation based in ethics, specifically the Rotary four-way test, which asks 4 questions about what we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? The truth is that the AUP has censured UNL for violating national standards regarding academic freedom and shared governance. With just 1 or 2 exceptions, we are the only Big Ten institution that has been censured since the McCarthy era, and they got off censure fast. Hardly any leading land grants or other peer institutions have been in this position. Censure is a stain on our reputation that these proposed bylaws changes will help remove. The truth is also that UNL faculty and administrators have invested 3 years of hard work articulating this consensus. The truth is also that students, faculty, and staff are the heart and soul of this institution. So how do these proposed changes affect them? Second question, is it fair to all concerned? Yes, these proposed changes represent a compromise that minimizes the risk of hastily made decisions while optimizing an ethos that serves the university's long-term interests. To be clear, they benefit faculty in uneven ways, disproportionately impacting those with the least power to speak up, extension educators, graduate instructors, adjuncts. I trust you appreciate the essential role these members of our community play in educating Nebraskans, training our workforce, and making it possible for others to secure research grants needed to earn our place in the Big Ten and as a Research One institution. These changes also benefit academic units, which need to plan course sequences, entire semesters, or years in advance to optimize students' ability to complete degrees, and make it easier for us to attract qualified instructors to a state with a consistently tight labor market
1 minute remaining.
and trouble recruiting highly skilled experts, especially those willing to teach difficult, even unpopular fields. Finally, these changes help us optimize undergraduate students' experience who depend on organizational stability and the relationships they build with faculty mentors. That helps recruit more students. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? This has been a broadly representative faculty committee with administrators involved. Respecting this collectively provided expertise reinforces the mutual goodwill shown so far and strengthens the relationships with the board. Fourth and final, will it be beneficial to all concerned? The proposed changes before the board will be beneficial to the University of Nebraska's national standing and to virtually everyone who works and or studies here, especially the changes to the administrative leave of absence section. Please pass them. They were developed by President Carter, Chancellor Green's team, the faculty senate members of the AUP, and the ad hoc committee representing multiple colleges. We all have the university's best interests.
Thank you, Regina. William Aviles, you're on.
Mr. Viles, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone. Mr. Reviles, you are now unmuted.
Good morning. My name is William Aviles. I'm a professor in the Department of Political Science at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. I am also president of UNKEA, which is our faculty union. I'm speaking this morning to express my support for the proposed changes to the NU bylaws related to paid administrative leave for our faculty. As the president of UNK's faculty union, I have been involved in assisting different faculty members who have been placed on administrative leave during the last 3 years. The stress and shock of such a decision can be a real difficult one for the faculty member involved. I am convinced that allowing for the review of such decisions by a faculty committee will not only mitigate the fear felt by the faculty member, but will give greater legitimacy to the actions taken by the administrator. To my mind, if shared governance is to mean anything, then it means that faculty and the administration work together to ensure that such consequential decisions represent the right ones. Many thanks to President Carter for his support of expanding due process protections for faculty, and I respectfully ask that the Board of Regents formally approve these changes. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Next up is Melody Vacro. I hope I was close, Melody.
Ms. Vaccaro, you are now on the meeting. Please unmute your phone. You are now unmuted. Ms. Vaccaro, you are now unmuted.
Okay, should I talk now?
Yes.
Okay, great, hi. Hello, President Carter and Board of Regents. My name is Melody Vaccaro. I'm a first-generation college student. I started at UNL and transferred to UNO about halfway through and graduated with a bachelor's degree from UNO. I currently live in Lincoln and hope that one day my own children will remain in the state and attend a Nebraska college instead of going far from home. I come here today in that spirit, the spirit of loving our university system and desire to strengthen it so that my grandchildren and great-grandchildren can get access to the best educators in the nation and have even better opportunities than I did. I come here to tell you why I think professors and their graduate students must have academic freedom. I urge you to vote to pass the bylaw changes that were presented to you in the meeting. I've personally seen in the last year science be backburnered in silence when it got in the way of government objectives. I've personally seen how our land-grant universities in Nebraska have been the backbone leading us through a deadly pandemic, and the nation at large, as a federal response one would expect, just didn't come through. The experts at all levels were silenced, bullied, and we watched in horror as the former president told people to drink bleach, while the experts around him were unable to stop him without fear of losing their seat at the table of a federal response. And I'm worried about Nebraska schools. I've seen policymakers show the same disregard for facts. In fact, the same elected officials that were at the forefront of ousting Dr. Courtney Lawton have been at the forefront of anti-masking, demanding lethally gained herd immunity, and putting state government at risk with their lack of COVID procedures. I want to address the event that got us here, how a graduate student made a representative of Turning Point USA feel unwelcome. At the time of the incident, they were known for asking students at universities to film their teachers looking out for out-of-context clips that would get them on a professor watch list. And the impact ruined careers and caused significant trauma at institutions of higher learning across the country. Teach USA is funded with billionaire money, and their founder, Charlie Kirk, often discusses how proud he is to have never gone to college and repeatedly shows his disdain of higher education as he grows his organization on campuses.
1 minute remaining.
Campuses. Everybody knows that TPUSA is a white supremacist organization. They were part of the Capitol riot, and Charlie Kirk himself is trying to scramble as he knows he bussed in hundreds of students to be part of that. I would like to be clear to the Board of Regents, people may not have liked what Dr. Lawton said to the person tabling, but she was right and we knew it at the time. It's an extremist organization that has a front seat in cracking open the lacking protections in academic freedom, and they are culpable in the Capitol violence on January 6th. You must protect free speech and protect everyone in the university system from agitator groups. And I ask you to vote for the bylaws changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody. Next up, Beth Lewis.
Ms. Lewis, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone. Ms. Lewis, you are now unmuted and may begin.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Beth Lewis. I'm Associate Professor, UNL College of Education. Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Excellence, equity, and authentic inclusion in higher education is only possible when the workplace is a space in which everyone, staff, faculty, administrators, is supported by fair metrics and due process. These critical bylaws revisions before you today are a welcome solution. They provide an improved pathway to transparent procedures that support a vision of fair and inclusive workplace in which everyone is valued and respected. Thank you, President Carter, Chancellor Green, the representatives on, and the collective work of the university's faculty senates and the chapters of AAUP and you, the Board of Regents, for your careful and thoughtful consideration of the critical and continual need for mutual respect in enacting fair workplace principles. I strongly encourage the board to approve these proposed revisions to the faculty bylaws. I cede my remaining time.
Thank you, Beth. Next up, Sarah Purcell. Sarah?
Ms. Purcell, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone. Ms. Purcell, you are now unmuted and may begin.
Good morning, Regents and President Carter. I am Sarah Purcell, an extension educator who has served the people of Nebraska and the University of Nebraska in this role for 32 years. As we consider the proposed bylaw changes, the first recommended extension bylaw amendment would explicitly recognize extension educators at all rank levels as members of the university's professional staff. Whereas we all know that extension educators are faculty, especially since extension educator John Fesh and I have both served a term as the president of the UNL Faculty Senate. This amendment would actually list in the bylaws the three ranks of extension educators as University of Nebraska-Lincoln Special Appointment Faculty. The second proposed extension amendment offers extension educators, based on their rank, a longer termination notice in accordance with UNL research faculty and professors of practice. Assistant extension educators would maintain a 90-day termination notice. Associate extension educators would have a 6-month notice, while full extension educators would have a 1-year notice. Extension educators who devoted their lives to the University of Nebraska Extension would be treated as other non-tenure track faculty on campus. The final proposed extension amendment clarifies the relationship between the University of Nebraska and county governments. This amendment is crucial for the renewal of interlocal agreements between the university and county officials. Interlocal agreements are the working documents that allow the university and county governments to unite their efforts and resources to provide UNL-generated information to the citizens of their counties. The current interlocal agreement wordage is outdated and has caused several counties to pause hiring county-funded extension assistants and clerical staff until the wordage is updated. This in turn has caused county extension programming to be reduced and delayed because of the lack of county-funded extension personnel. We know a vote yes is the correct action for the University of Nebraska on behalf of extension educators, Nebraska Extension, and ultimately the people of Nebraska. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Chancellor Green, Vice Chancellor Boehm, Interim Extension Dean Barner, and the UNL Faculty Senate for their continued support of these amendments, as well as the acknowledgement that we are in this position today with the endorsement and recommendation of President Carter and Provost Fritz. I thank you. Members of the board, I urge you to consider the importance of the 3 bylaw amendments to the University of Nebraska and to Nebraska Extension and to vote yes in April for their passage. I thank you for your support as Extension helps Nebraskans enhance their lives through research-based education. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Eric Radina would be next.
Eric, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone. Eric, you are unmuted and may begin.
Yes, my name is Eric Rodin. I'm the president of the Graduate Student Assembly at UNL. I wanted to talk to the board today about the bylaw amendments regarding administrative leave. First, I want to commend the university administration for taking these steps to update the procedures for cases of faculty and staff suspension. Since the Regents bylaws specifically include graduate student assistants among academic staff, these procedures also apply to us. I also want to thank President Carter for recently including the language proposed in November by UNL's Faculty Senate about requiring a hearing in cases of suspension through the end of a person's contract. I know that many faculty members have raised concerns over including this requirement, and I'm grateful that it's been restored to the proposed amendments. I want to say that GSA supports these amendments as they currently stand. Because of the severity of suspending or dismissing a faculty or staff member, it is crucial that we have an established process to protect anyone from being placed on leave or removed for minor grievances. By requiring a hearing in such cases, we can have faith that any egregious violations truly worthy of a person's removal will be brought to light. I also know that faculty and administration have been working hard over the past couple of years towards the goal of removing the university from the AAUP censure list, and I believe these amendments will be a major step forward in that regard. Again, I would like to thank President Carter for listening to the faculty. I also would like to thank university administration for working on this, and I want to thank the Board of Regents for considering these amendments. I strongly encourage the board members to vote in favor of these amendments at the April meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Next up is Amy Southwick. Amy?
Amy, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone. Amy, you are now unmuted and may begin speaking.
Thank you. I'm a parent of two UNL students, and I just wanted to share two concerns I have right now with, I think, the level of quality education that is happening. There is a huge benefit of in-person classes, and I know that it keeps being said that UNL is offering in-person, but in our personal experience, that is not the case. I believe in-person benefits, discussion, new ideas, points of views, and allows people to grow in their communication and understanding of other points of views and learn respect for them. It also helps with relationships. And when we're looking at higher level learning and who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, these are vital aspects of the learning situation. In fall of 2020, I had a freshman and a junior with about 9 classes total between them, and they were not in class at 20 times combined for the semester. My daughter, as a freshman, moved in on a Thursday. She was supposed to have 1 week of online and then go into in-person. And within 4 days of her moving into the university dorms, her classes were dropping one by one, a lot of them going hybrid, which I could completely understand in the situation. However, by the beginning of October, she was online and I think attended classes maybe 9 times. My frustration is we had an entire state that district by district, school districts could come up with a tiered approach at when it was appropriate to be in person, when it was to be hybrid, and when it was to be online. And I feel that no guidelines were given and it was just left up to each professor. My son, who is a junior, is at very critical time of his learning, and we're not even in Zoom classes. He is in here's your lecture, and professors available by email for about 3 hours a week. He has said to me I might as well go on to University of Phoenix online because it's cheaper. I could probably make a legal argument for a bait and switch. We were told by the chancellor's office to be sure to sign up for in-person, which we did. And now 2 of the 4 classes that he signed up for are now online. And now I get charged for online classes even though they signed up for. So I would urge the university to maybe look at the situation you're in, because I don't think quality education is happening because you're taking the vast majority of a university experience away. I had a few other comments about the COVID Cornhusker commitment, but my time is going to run out. But what I will say on that is I don't appreciate my children having to sign something when it's not clear on what the protocols are going to be. And I feel that it is overreach that when they sign it, for instance, if my daughter ever became positive on force to be tested. Okay.
Thank you, Amy. Next up is Jocelyn Dostal. Jocelyn?
Jocelyn, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone.
You there, Jocelyn?
Jocelyn's phone is still muted. Jocelyn, your phone is now unmuted. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Dostal, and I'm a senior in chemical engineering here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I'm here to speak to you today about something I'm extremely passionate about, the oil and gas industry. I'd like to go straight to breaking down what products come from oil and gas. Some may be obvious and some not so much. In just one typical barrel of domestic crude oil, the following can be produced: gasoline, distillate fuel or diesel, electricity, charcoal briquettes, propane, asphalt, lubricants, wax, and enough petrochemicals left in the same barrel to also provide the base for many other products, including polyethylene, the most widely produced plastic in the world. This means all kinds of electronics we use on a daily basis are made from gas and oil, such as our cell phones, earbuds, laptops, printers, and more. Additional unexpected products that come from petroleum are textile fibers like acrylic, rubber, polyester, nylon, and spandex. There's also petroleum jelly, which is used in lip balms and moisturizers. Other beauty and bathroom products containing oil and gas include mascara, hairspray, perfume, nail polish, sunscreen, shampoo, soap, toothpaste, and more. Petroleum is also used to make many pharmaceuticals, such as the phenol, cumene, benzene, and other petrochemicals, which are the basis for aspirin, penicillin, and cancer-fighting drugs. Lastly, medical devices derived from oil and gas include bandaging, casts, sutures, hearing aids, prosthetics, heart valves, stethoscopes, IV bags, and so much more. Now I would like to bring up the COVID-19 protection that is brought to us by the oil and gas industry. First of all, hand sanitizer is made from isopropyl alcohol or ethanol, which are both derived from the crude oil refining process. Furthermore, oil and gas makes the production, transfer, and maintenance of the COVID-19 vaccine possible. The first and most obvious example is the fuel used to ship the vaccine and natural gas that hospitals rely on for power. But there's more that might not be so obvious. Dry ice is made by liquefying, freezing, and compressing carbon dioxide into a solid ice. Carbon dioxide is a byproduct of the petroleum refining process, and it is suctioned and purified to make dry ice, which is a vital component in maintaining the vaccine well below freezing temperatures in transport. Next, refrigeration of the vaccine in hospital freezers requires a refrigerant. Many types of refrigerants are made from hydrocarbons, such as butane or propane, which are separated from crude oil. Last but not least, plastics, such as the millions of plastic syringes used to hold the vaccine that are made from polyethylene or polypropylene. Furthermore, the personal protective equipment used in hospitals like medical masks, gowns, face shields, and other plastic items used in medicine that would not be possible without oil and gas. As you can see, providing millions of people with the COVID-19 vaccine and protecting hospital workers from contracting the virus would not be possible without the oil and gas industry. I hope that through this speech, I've been able to show you how crucial oil and gas is to our world. Although I believe that completely sustainable energy is the end goal, I want to help critics of the oil and gas industry to understand that getting there will be a long process involving many years of study. Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Next up is Nathan Kreitzer. Nathan?
Nathan, you are now in the meeting. Please unmute your phone.
You there, Nathan?
Nathan's phone is still muted. Nathan, please unmute your phone.
All right, can you hear me all right?
Yes, you may begin.
All right, hello, my name is Nathan Kreitzer. I'm an engineering student here at the university, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the oil industry in the opposition of the Divest in Oil movement. I had the opportunity to spend my 2020 spring semester in Beaumont, Texas, working for ExxonMobil at the refinery. During that time, I was absolutely amazed by the culture I found at the facility I worked in. The culture was largely based on giving back and helping to improve the community. This is seen through the encouragement for all employees to participate in community outreach projects such as mentoring at local schools, through giving time to various food banks in the area, the United Way program, Habitats for Humanity program, and Junior Achievements program. ExxonMobil, as a company, tracked these hours of community service and matched these hours through donations to the nonprofit organizations reached out to by their employees. For every 20 hours by an employee or spent by an employee in assistance of these nonprofits, ExxonMobil donated $500 of their own to the nonprofits. ExxonMobil's relief efforts, however, did not stop there. In 2020, they recognized the devastating effects of malaria in some international communities. Because of this, they teamed up with nonprofit organizations and have funded programs which have reached out to more than 124 million people. This is through the distribution of 13.5 million bed nets, 2.1 million doses of antimalarial treatments, 2.2 million rapid diagnostics kits, and the training of over 400,000 healthcare workers. During my time at Exxon, the devastating COVID-19 outbreak began. One of the largest effects of the outbreak was the reduction in travel. This meant the demand for some of the products produced by Exxon, such as gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel, was dramatically decreased. We witnessed record low prices of fuel costs all across the board, having a large effect on the amount of revenue generated by Exxon. For this reason, ExxonMobil's stocks and value as a company fell. But this did not hamper them from still doing the right thing for their community. The facility I worked in realized that there was a dramatic need for masks as well as hand sanitizer in the surrounding medical facilities. For this reason, much of the masks which the refinery kept on site were donated to medical facilities in the area. The refinery I worked in also produced isopropyl alcohol, which is an active ingredient in many hand sanitizers. The refinery repurposed many of their labs to be able to take this isopropyl alcohol and produce hand sanitizer from it. The hand sanitizer was then bottled and delivered to medical facilities in the area at no cost to the medical facility. When the Exxon was hurting financially, they still succeeded in doing the right thing for their communities. ExxonMobil is not the only oil company I know that stepped forward during the COVID-19 pandemic. Here at the university, I'm sure you're aware that we began producing hand sanitizer for the distribution across the state of Nebraska. We ran into one large roadblock, however, in our attempts to make hand sanitizer. We couldn't find storage containers in which to hold the hand sanitizer, so that we could ship it across the state to schools, communities, and hospitals who needed it. We reached out to some of the organizations that we knew to find containers. Phillips 66 responded to us and donated 100,000 one-gallon containers to us for us to be able to fill with hand sanitizer. We weren't even in one of their directly connected communities, but we still sent aid to them. All these examples I've given are instances I know of and have been a part of. I know this list would stretch on much further. So I urge you to think about the communities and companies these companies aid, both when they are profitable and when they're.
Thank you, Nathan. Last speaker of the morning, Ivy Harper. Ivy?
I do not see Ivy in the waiting room.
I believe we received notice that due to timing, Ivy was not able to join us this morning.
Very well, then there being no other persons wishing to comment, I declare the opportunity for public comment closed. And I was just wondering, how about a 5-minute bio break? Take 5 quick minutes. Well, Stacia, I don't have a full screen, so you'll have to let me know when most of the people are back.
Looks like we have everyone back.
Well, it's now time to consider the consent agenda. The consent agenda is indicated by its name. It's moved and voted on as a group of action items, as opposed to the administrative agenda, where items will be considered and discussed individually. With that being said, unless one of my colleagues on the board wishes to consider any of the items on the administrative agenda, I would invite a motion to approve this agenda.
Shirley?
Jack, you're the man. Now we need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Roll call vote.
If I could just make a very quick comment before we go to roll. Before the board votes on the consent agenda, I want to express on behalf of everyone at the university my gratitude and appreciation for the Holland Foundation's generous support to the university and to UNMC. I'm really excited and looking forward to the opening for MMI's new home later this fall. The first of its kind facility is uniquely designed to serve patients with developmental and intellectual disabilities and will be an incredible asset to the university, the state of Nebraska, and patients across the entire country. This project represents the opportunities that public and private partnerships can provide. We truly appreciate all the support from the governor, from the legislature, and our private partners to make that vision a reality. I'll turn it back over to Regent Kenny.
Thank you, President Carter. Stacia?
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Schroeder,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
The motion passes.
President Carter.
Okay, we'll now go to university administrative agenda under academic affairs. Item 11A1 requests the approval of honorary degrees and awards. These degrees and awards are brought before you in accordance with the processes and oversight of the board's Honorary Degrees Committee.
Thank you, President Carter. The board will consider the honorary degrees and awards in closed session. Item 11A1 will be voted on after that.
Approval is requested. I'll go ahead and continue here. Approval under addendum 11A2 is requested to establish the Center for Agricultural Profitability in the Department of Agriculture and Economics and the Institute of Agriculture and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Agriculture and the processing of its products compromises approximately 25% of the entire Nebraska economy, with 1 in 4 jobs related to agriculture. The liquidity and solvency of farmers and ranchers are dependent upon financially astute decision-making. The Center for Agricultural Profitability will bridge departments and bring together faculty with expertise in multiple disciplines to focus integrated research and outreach through extension programs on the economic well-being of farmers and ranchers. This proposal has been consented by the Council of Academic Officers and recommended for approval by the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend it for the board's approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Barb. Any further questions on this one?
I don't have
Tim.
I don't have a question as much as a comment. I think this is an outstanding program. We've seen every industry throughout the country pivot to make ends meet, to look at new ways to grow its base, et cetera, et cetera. And with agriculture as important of a industry as it is in our state, which it is vital to the livelihood and the livelihood of the state and the state's economy. I just think this is outstanding. My question, I guess, my question would be, I assume there's affiliation beyond just the departments and programs noted in here in the materials to include the entrepreneurial college or the entrepreneurial department, the Engler entrepreneurial, as well as there's some great overlap, I would assume, with business, the business college and the finance department specifically relative to some of the economics behind what this program is trying to offer. So I'm excited about this, and I will approve it, but I just wanted to raise those comments.
Thank you, Regent.
I guess we should probably see if Dr. Bain would like to make a comment on your question, Regent Claire.
Yeah, Regent Claire, thank you for bringing it up. This is it's a comprehensive, all hands on deck approach. Perhaps we could have articulated that in the proposal better, but the Engler Entrepreneurship Program, definitely the College of Business Entrepreneurship Program, law, the law college with its environmental water law dynamics, everything we're doing in IE&R related to entrepreneurship, agricultural innovation, smart, you name it, ag. It's connected to this profitability. Rural Prosperity Nebraska is tied in here. I think this will help us tie into Blueprint Nebraska and certainly supports the UNL 2025 strategic goal as well as the 5-year plan of the university.
I just think it's outstanding, and I think when I hear about this program, I think about, for example, the Holzfaster family from out in Paxton when corn was such that he took corn and made a plastic, like a shell product out of it, and it was just amazing from an entrepreneurial standpoint, some of the things that the Holzfaster family and others across the state do. But agriculture is such a vital industry in our state. I'm just thrilled to look at the pivot and look at where it's going in the months and years ahead, and that the university's leading the charge.
I just wanted to jump in and say too that I think that this offers us opportunities to draw students to Nebraska because of the expansion of our understanding of all the disciplines that are involved in agriculture and the work that's being done in more rural areas. And I think it provides us with some great opportunities for admissions growth in this arena with this additional piece.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else? Jim.
Sure, Kenny. I'm certainly supportive of this initiative. I maybe would offer a comment for all of us from maybe from a 30,000 foot view of the challenges that we have in higher education and the challenges across the globe and the challenges for the state of Nebraska and in particular rural Nebraska. That maybe I guess what I would challenge would be that hopefully we are getting to a point under the One Nebraska vision that we really are tearing the silos down, and we don't have to continue to create more things to have cross-disciplinary work and bridging departments together. I would encourage, that has to organically happen at a really, really rapid pace. I have confidence because I've seen so many great things across all of our departments of agriculture. But I think just using this as an example, anybody in agriculture has been working since the founding of the Land Grant Institute to figure out how to be more profitable and how to feed, clothe, and educate their families off the land. And so I guess all my offer is to say that I think we have to put the bridging together at a lot faster speed. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else? Stacia?
Regent Miller.
Yes.
Regent Moore.
Yes.
Regent Schroeder,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Next
Thank
item
you.
deals with the University of Nebraska Medical Center under Addendum 11A3. Approval is requested to create a Master of Healthcare Delivery Science in the College of Allied Health Professions at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. The proposed Master of Healthcare Delivery Science is a 30 credit hour online applied non-thesis degree designed to provide practicing healthcare professionals with advancing knowledge pertaining to core administrative and leadership competencies. While applicable to healthcare provider, the degree's primary purpose is to provide an advanced degree opportunity for those clinical, diagnostic, and therapeutic science professionals wishing to strengthen their credentials and explore an expanded role in the healthcare system. The proposal has been consented by the Council of Academic Officers and approved by the Executive Graduate Council. This proposal also has been recommended for approval by the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend it for the board's approval.
Thank you, President Carter. Is there a motion for 11A3?
I move it, Barbara, Regent.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? Jeff?
Thank you. Just very briefly, this is created to provide an interprofessional, interdisciplinary 30 credit hour degree program to continue to grow leadership across all of healthcare to serve our state, to serve our region. These advanced degrees take people who are accomplished clinicians and give them some of the knowledge and skills that they need to become institutional leaders and to understand the challenges and opportunities that our state has across the urban and rural communities that we serve. It is a very innovative program, and I'm very grateful the Board of Regents is considering this. I'm sure we'll be proud.
Thank you, Chancellor. Anyone else?
I would just like to
Jacob?
say,
Go ahead.
I would like to
Go
say
ahead.
my support after speaking with Chancellor Gold and Vice Chancellor Davies. I think this is a really excellent, an excellent addition to an already strong curriculum at UNMC, and I think we should move forward with this.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else? Stacia?
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Schroeder,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item is under Business Affairs, University of Nebraska. This is Addendum 11B1. Item 11B1 seeks your approval of amendments to the Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee Charter. These changes, which are in alignment with International Professional Practices Framework promulgated by the Institute of Internal Auditors, provide additional clarity and reporting requirements that will allow the committee to continue its important oversight role. These changes have been recommended for approval by the Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee and by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend them for your approval.
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
Second.
Tim, thank you. Elizabeth, do you have any comments?
Colleagues, in accordance with paragraph 26 of the Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee Charter, as chair of that committee, I am required to confirm that all responsibilities outlined in the committee charter have been carried out.
I confirm that the Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee has indeed carried out its responsibilities and request that the minutes of the meeting reflect this.
Thank you, Regent. Any other comments?
I think it's important to note, I think as President Carter did, that this has been reviewed by two of our committees, by Audit, Risk, and Compliance, by Business and Finance. And after having spent a long afternoon with the auditors yesterday, I think it's important that we do keep ours current and up to date. And I think these changes are all positive.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else? Stacia?
Regent Schroeder,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to take items 11B2 and 11B3 together as they seek your approval of amendments to the faculty collective bargaining agreements at both UNK and UNO. The key economic element to the agreements before you includes a 1.25% salary increase to eligible faculty members in each year of the next biennium. These include fiscal years 2021-22 and 2022-23. As you recall, the 3-year budget plan you approved last June outlined a strategy to provide all employees, whether unionized or not, with roughly 4.5% salary merit pools over the next 3 years. Members of the collective bargaining agreements received 2% increases this year. With the 1.25% annual increases outlined in these amended bargaining agreements, these faculty members will reach our 4.5% target. For all other employees, you will recall that we made the difficult but necessary decision to not provide any salary increases this fiscal year in response to COVID-19 fiscal challenges. However, we are planning to provide these employees with a 1.5% merit pool in 2021-22 and 3% merit pools in 2022-23 to reach our 4.5% goal. And I mentioned that so that we did not feel like that portion of the faculty is being left out. The proposal was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Thank you, President Carter. Is there a motion to approve this, and there's no problem with holding them together?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any discussion? Seeing none, Stacia?
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
and Regent Schroeder dropped off. He had a surgery exam this morning, so he will won't be with us for the rest of the meeting. Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B4 seeks your approval of the program statement for new fraternity and sorority life housing at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. This project will construct a replacement housing complex to house 6 UNK fraternity and sorority organizations. The project will also renovate the currently vacated Martin Residence Hall to house another 6 organizations and provide necessary support space. This project is key to UNK's long-term strategic enrollment goals, and I'll invite Chancellor Christensen to make a few remarks about the project.
Thank you, President Carter. When I first started at UNK, one of our major goals was the renovation of our residential facilities on campus. This is the final major initiative to complete that renovation, and it's the part that deals with the fraternity and sorority life, FSL, on our campus. These are 245 beds. They're going to relocate all of our fraternity and sorority life to a village setting on the east side of campus. It's going to be built to maximize those beds because it's built close to the student union. We're not going to have to build additional food services. This will really cement and I think ensure the future of fraternity sorority life on the UNK campus, which is going to enhance our student engagement, our leadership. It improves actually the whole engagement of the residential experience. And it is a key part of our enrollment management strategy moving forward. So it is, as President Carter said, the renovation of Martin Hall and a new facility. It gives us great flexibility. And this is a project that's very familiar to the board. I'm really excited about the future and what this is going to do to UNK. It's going to ensure the future of fraternity sorority life on our campus for years to come. And it's going to enhance our recruitment strategies. All of that, I think, is extremely positive, and I appreciate your consideration at this point.
Thank you, Doug. Details about the project are included in your program statement and your agenda materials. The project is proposed to be funded by a $16.6 million loan from the university's internal lending program and $10 million of housing renewal and repair funds. This proposal was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Thank you, President Carter. We have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions on the UNK expansion?
Kenny, I have a comment.
Sure. Go ahead.
I think that this project squares with the university's strategic goals of increasing enrollment and the retention of students, which Ted highlighted today in his remarks. Currently, we are asking students to pay for housing in these buildings that are prone to maintenance issues, and that's not really a fair way to ask students to live. Data shows that students involved in the Greek system are more likely to be involved in campus, more likely to stay enrolled, and more likely to complete their degree. As I can confirm based on my time at UNO as a member of the Greek system, the Chi Omega, we also know that students are generally safer on campus than off. This is a big price tag, but it will prevent future damage and expenses to the building. It creates safe housing for our students. And further, the project includes a strategic partnership with the student organizations involved who have committed not only to finance some of the costs, but also to ensuring that the rooms are occupied by membership. Also, given current interest rates, I think it's a prudent move from a business standpoint. And because this is going to improve the quality of life of students, it's done prudently with partnerships to minimize risk and will also bring the university closer to accomplishing its plan. I strongly support this program.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I wonder if we might impose on Chancellor Christensen again for just a comment or two about the problems that are existing with the present fraternity sorority housing. We've been through that with the committee, looking at it. Those of us who have made campus visit to UNK saw it firsthand, but maybe it would be appropriate, Doug, for you just to add a comment or two about those issues and why it's important for us to make this whole move.
I thank you, Regent Ferris. You know, I always want to stress, I think, what the positive future of this is, and because it's very, very strong. But you're correct, and as the board has seen on a couple of prior visits, these were facilities that are in need of replacement. If you drive by them, they look fine from the outside. And so that can be confusing to the average citizen. But if you go in and take a good look at these, the infrastructure, of course, is needing to now be replaced. It is past its useful life of what was designed to do. And we don't want to have any disasters. We don't want to have to replace and relocate students during the middle of a semester. And with that, we're going to move with all due haste and speed to get these facilities ready for our students. As the board has seen in the past, we did have a crisis a few years ago with one of the facilities. And, you know, I think we've been very fortunate that we haven't had another crisis. So with that, Regent Ferris, I appreciate your question. This is a win-win for the university, for I think our students, and I think for the long-term investment of the facilities of our campus.
I think to add a student's perspective to that, last year I was the president of a fraternity on campus, and so I was responsible for trying to get students to live in the residence hall. As Regent O'Connor mentioned, we do sign contracts with the Board of Regents to fill so many rooms. It became very hard to try and get members to live in these houses. When it rained, we would have water come in. The structures aren't, or at least the foundation, I'm told, is sinking. We would have water leaks, and then of course the sorority just right across the lawn from us flooded. And so this is a huge thing for our campus. Creeks are great for campus. This isn't just a residence hall. I really think it's an investment in the institution and what we do best here.
Thank you, Regents. Any other comments?
Chair Kenny?
Jim?
I would like to just speak to the efficient use of the dollar on this project. If somebody is standing back and just looking at a project from a long view, there somebody could get critical and say it should cost this or that. I know I used to have that view that it should be X dollars a square foot. I think that it's really important for all Nebraska taxpayers to understand this is an investment for the long haul, and it's going to last for generations, and it's built correctly. The other piece I would commend Chancellor Christensen and his team on would be that the square footage, there's multiple, there's joint spaces that are being used by each of the chapters. There's not big spaces for each chapter. And then lastly, the location is very, very conducive to the student union and food services. So all those things are not duplicated. And I just commend everybody for the extraordinary use of dollars in an efficient mode to meet the students' needs and exceed it.
Regent Pillen, thank you very much. I would add, and perhaps something that I had not mentioned previously, that there is going to be cooperative work done with our existing food provider who will help accommodate this switch and change. And so there, with some of those food service dollars that are going to be available, they will make renovations and accommodations. And I think it is a good use of the efficient dollar here to not build an independent food service operation by putting them in this location. One, I think it's best for those groups, but two, I think it's extremely good for us for the efficient building, so we can put more beds per dollar in.
Thank you, Chancellor. Anyone else? Tim, I still have a small screen. I need someone to switch me.
I was going to start jumping up and down, but I figured that probably wouldn't be a good thing. I agree with all the comments made. I think Elizabeth started it off well with her analysis, and I think it is a substantial amount of money. But as an aside, I would also add that this is also the importance of a bill that's coming before the legislature with respect to deferred maintenance. These buildings are owned by the state. These buildings are owned by the campus, and And it's important for us to take care of them. So that deferred maintenance bill that I'm sure Ted will address either later on or in his testimony next week in front of the legislature, this is the poster child for why this is important, why that bill is important. But back to the UNK, I think if you look at the impact that the fraternities and sororities bring to this campus, a lot of the leadership, a lot of the enthusiasm and trajectory that UNK is enjoying is in part due to a lot of the Greek system. Doug can probably give better analysis relative to the numbers exactly of how many are involved in leadership on campus, what the graduation rates are on campus, who holds the leadership positions within the student organizations on campus that are part of the Greek system. And I would maybe ask him to give that data, but my recollection in talking with him is it's a huge number. So if you take this away, I think it will have a significant negative impact on the vibrancy and impact the trajectory of what UNK is enjoying today relative to the upward trajectory it's on. I think it would be impacted negatively. So I'm going to wholeheartedly support this. And Chancellor Christensen, I truly appreciate what you're doing for the students at UNK.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else?
I just add one other thing, Mr. Chairman. As you know, there is no university property anywhere that has excess parking. And this project will have an impact on the parking that is on the east side of the student union. The administration at UNK has committed to reviewing where else they can provide additional parking within the campus to replace that. And I'm confident that's not specifically a part of this program statement, but it was an issue that we've discussed, and it's one they're aware of and one they'll be working on.
That's true, Regent Ferris. And if I were a neighbor, I would always be concerned about the impact of parking on the neighborhoods. And you know, there's a variety of ways here that we can reconfigure parking. But I got to tell you, my response to many in the parking areas, the future of the university is driven by where students live and their student experience. And the issue of parking is certainly important, but it is not the driving mechanism here. And we are committed to finding those satisfactory answers. It doesn't help us to underserve people with parking needs. So thank you for that. And we do have that on our short list of things that will be done through the design and implementation of this project.
Thank you, Regent and Chancellor. Anyone else? Stacia?
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B5, in support of University of Nebraska Medical Center, seeks your approval to acquire several parcels of land on Leavenworth Street in Omaha for UNMC. In support of UNMC's master plan, the university continues to work with nearby property owners in acquiring parcels of land that are critical to UNMC expansion. The parcels of land are adjacent to the UNMC campus and are critical to maximizing future development opportunities and flexibility. The proposed acquisitions were reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend them to you for your approval.
Thank you, President Carter. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Tim? Chancellor Gold, I assume you have a comment?
Just very briefly to say these are properties immediately contiguous to the southern border of the Med Center campus on Leavenworth Street. They're all part of the facilities master plan, which has been presented on several times to the Board of Regents. And they've all been vetted, and the purchase prices are all consistent with Board of Regents policy, and we strongly hope that the board will consider this.
Thank you, Chancellor. Any other questions? Stacia?
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 11B6 seeks your approval to sell a vacant lot at 6465 Center Street on the UNO campus. This lot has historically been underdeveloped, and its sale will have no impact on UNO's master plan. UNO previously obtained approval from the Board of Regents to enter into a ground lease of the property, but found no interested developers. In an effort to provide flexibility and expand the pool of potential developers, UNO is seeking authorization to sell the property to a developer who has a vision that best suits UNO's community. The proposal was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Thank you, President Carter. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Second? Thank you. Any questions, comments on this lot?
Chairman Kenny?
Yes, sir.
I think it's important to note that I think this piece of property has stayed on the books, if you will, because of thoughts of possibilities of it being an asset down the road. And I think it's fair to say that through all of the vetting of this project, the opportunity for this lot to create value for universities not in anybody's wildest dreams. So I support fully that we.
Thank you, Regent. Any other comments?
Regent Kenny, Chair Kenny, I'm getting used to that. I love it.
It does. It does.
It's good, doesn't it? My question is, in the selling of the lots, the very end, you said something about that it would be in accordance or sort of a part of what would be appropriate for an academic UNO campus kind of development. Do we have any say over that if we put this property up for sale, or is it just the big, it's a bid and that's it?
We
Can
have
we
to,
put-
if I may,
In
have respond to that, Regent Whites.
Yes.
Thank you.
Chancellor, say that again. It didn't quite come through my audio.
I'm asking your permission to respond to Regent White's
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
The answer is, of course, we have choice over who we would sell this property to. This is property that has no frontage on Center Street and is not at all useful to UNO. However, what we're looking for is a purchaser that would, invest in the property, and secondly, be something that is consistent with the growth of that part of the UNO campus. So, think something along the lines of, without being specific, a coffee vendor or other types of, services that would be useful to our students, faculty, and staff. It is in close proximity to Baxter Arena, so it has other potential attractions as well. But it's just not in a place because of its location that UNO deems to be helpful at this time.
So do
Alpha
we have
Regent
any
White?
to it? I mean, is it isolated or does it have an out to center or?
Does not.
No.
We would have to provide some sort of egress or ingress through one of the UNO-owned parking facilities.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Anyone else? Stacia?
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 11B7 seeks your acceptance of a gift from the Nebraska Philanthropic Trust of the Omaha Baseball and Softball Complex. In addition, we seek your approval of naming the two fields within the complex, the Tall Anderson Baseball Field and the Connie Clausen Softball Field. Through the generosity of the Nebraska Philanthropic Trust and private donors, the trust proposes to gift the Omaha Baseball and Softball Complex to the University of Nebraska at Omaha. The complex consists of a stadium, which includes a baseball field, a softball field, and associated improvements located on the Scott campus west of the Baxter Arena, a gift worth an estimated $25 million. Again, we are incredibly grateful to these tremendous supporters of the university. Chancellor Gold and I also recommend the naming of the two fields within the complex, the Tal Anderson Baseball Field and the Connie Clausen Softball Field. Tal Anderson was a former UNO baseball player and later financial donor and supporter of the university and UNO athletics. Mr. Anderson received a degree in business administration from UNO in 1984 and was the owner of the Baxter Auto Group. Connie Clausen taught physical education at UNO in 1963 and later started the women's athletics program at UNO in 1969 after coaching a team to compete in the first Women's College World Series, an event she helped start. Ms. Clausen received numerous awards during her tenure at UNO and retired in 1998. I can't think of a better way to recognize the outstanding contributions made to the university by both Connie and Tal. I'm personally excited to watch the Mavericks compete on these magnificent fields in less than a month on March 5th. Now think about that, March 5th, and it's snowing out here in Lincoln. I suspect it is in Omaha. So we're going to have somebody remove snow, or we're just going to start playing hockey out on this baseball field. And on March 17th, well, on March 5th, the baseball team will face off against Creighton. And on March 17th, the softball team will also be facing Creighton. I appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this project, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Thank you, President Carter. Is there a motion to approve this complex?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussions or comments? Jack, I hear you.
President Kinney, I have a comment.
Sure.
I was honored to work with Connie Clausen for 25 years. I don't think she's done more for women's athletics than anybody in the university, and I commend everybody for naming this after her, this complex. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent. Anyone else?
If I may comment, just to say
Jeff.
this is a unique type of public-private partnership. That is because the Nebraska Philanthropic Trust planned and built this entire facility on university land, and now is gifting it back to us. I would also like to commend our athletic director, Trev Alberts, for his vision and his planning here, and cannot express enough thanks to the major donors who have made this possible. The Board of Regents might also recall that the Mavericks won the Summit League baseball championship 2 years ago, and because of the pandemic, the right to host the next championship season did not occur last spring. Therefore, we will host the Summit League Championship as well as several practice games for the College World Series on this new facility this spring. I hope the board members will have an opportunity to tour the facility and also to participate in some of the appropriately socially distanced opening ceremonies. It is truly a remarkable facility.
Thank you, Chancellor. I heard someone else beginning to make a comment.
It was me, Barb. I just wanted to second Jack. Connie Clausen was such a mover of women's sports at UNO, and I can't think of a better way to honor her hard work. She ate, slept, and did everything related to helping women and girls in sports and the whole sports complex at UNO. And I'm so grateful that this way has been found to recognize that. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Weiss.
I'd like to just make one other comment, and I think we would be remiss if we did not say thank you also to Regent Emeritus Howard Hawks, who's been a champion for this project, as well as philanthropic support. So Howard, if you're listening out there, thank you for all you've done for this.
Thank you, President Carter. Anyone else? Stacia?
Regent Beal?
Yes.
Regent Miller?
Yes.
Regent Moore?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Stacia.
Play ball.
Yes.
Play ball.
Oh, yeah.
We're now to that portion of the meeting where I'd like to call attention to the items in the for information only section of your packet. Normally in Regents, Board of Regents meetings in the past, I've not made many comments about this, but there's some significant items in there, and I think it's important that I highlight a couple of them, especially given the many public commentators who have spoken to some of them today. Addendum 11C1 contains proposed amendments to the Board of Regents bylaws related to the process for placing a faculty member on administrative leave. In accordance with Regents bylaws, proposed amendments are presented as for information only for this meeting, but will be brought to you for vote in April. I just want to say how good I feel about where we've ended up after a long and collaborative process involving our faculty leadership, chancellors, and all the way here to the president's office. I can't say enough good things about the care and thought that has gone into this effort. I know it's taken a great deal of time, but I don't think that's a bad thing when you're talking about the policies impacting thousands of faculty across the entire system. We want to get this right for our faculty, and we've taken the time necessary to do that. The proposal that's before you in the information only package accomplishes a couple things. Number one, it provides clarity and predictability to our faculty regarding the administrative leave process. Number two, it protects academic freedom, one of the highest goals of a university. And I will tell you, as we've reviewed the language in here, I would say this would put us at the lead, even within the Big Ten, in what we are doing for academic freedom. And it puts the onus on the administration, not the faculty member, to protect academic freedom. I think that's an important distinction. Number three, it honors shared governance. And let's face it, shared governance is difficult and sometimes messy. But this is a sacred principle at our university, and I think we have been thoughtful about seeking and including faculty input. This will go an incredible long way to build on a very strong foundation, but take it to another level of trust. I again want to credit our Faculty Senate presidents and their teams for their feedback, comments, and collaboration throughout this process. I can't tell you that every single piece of feedback has been incorporated, but I think that what you have in your packet is a proposal that achieves our highest priorities following an inclusive, diligent, and dedicated process. And when you think about the many commenters that came before you today, there was not one single voice of dissent when it comes to these bylaws, which is pretty remarkable. Again, we'll be briefing this to you for a vote at your next meeting, but given that this topic has been of interest within our university and in the public, I wanted to offer a few comments on how we arrived at this point. I'd also offer the chancellors maybe a couple minutes to say their own words on this because they've been so deeply involved. And let's face it, when these bylaws are approved, a lot of the administrative process, due process, will occur at the president and the chancellor level. So Chancellor Ronnie Green, I know you and I have been working on this since the day I got here. I'd offer a chance for you to say a couple words.
Well, thank you, President Carter, and I would just reiterate what Ted has already said. The amount of effort and work in a shared governance sense that has gone into the development of these amendments to the bylaws has been phenomenal. And to see us get to the point where we do have the most comprehensive set of protections of academic freedom now, proposed for encasement in our bylaws is no small feat. And I'm very, very pleased that it puts us in the right place, both in terms of our faculty, of our academic appointees in the institution, and the administration of the university as well, in moving forward. So very pleased to be where we are, and looking forward to the review by the board.
Chancellor Christensen, I offer you a chance to say a few words.
Thank you very much, President Carter. I don't want to rehash what's been said, and I agree with all of it. But I think what's important here is the clarity and putting down the process. This will guide us in the future. I think this is something we can rely on. There's no policy that's going to address absolutely every instance or problem that will come before us in the future, but the process is important. And I applaud the work that's been done by others to make sure that process is clear and hopefully now put into the bylaws at some point, and we will be able to work with that as we go forward. I think it's a win for everybody. Very supportive. Thank you.
Chancellor Gold, do you have any comments?
Just very briefly to echo what my fellow chancellors have said, and you said, I do believe that while not easy, this is a tremendous step forward for all of our campuses. I particularly like to commend the leadership of the Med Center and the UNO Senates for their thoughtful review and additions to this. And finally, just to simply say that shared governance makes us better. And this policy change, this bylaws change, the Board of Regents, is just one of many examples that I've seen over my career where shared governance truly makes us better. Thank you.
So there are numerous reports for your review in this packet. And before I finish with that, I'd like to just make one final comment here. There's a bit of good news that I want to bring to the attention of the Board of Regents and the public that's in this information packet. Last year, our Board of Regents approved room and board rates for the academic year 2022 and 23, allowing families to plan for their future costs of attending the university. Within these approvals, you authorize campuses to increase room and board rates up to 3%. Given the far-reaching impact of the global pandemic and its impact on our students and their families, we took a very hard look at our room and board rates for the next academic year. Every campus faces different market environments and pricing pressures. So I want to emphasize its importance to make these decisions at the local level. So after our review, I'm proud to announce the following. Overall, across the entire university system, room and board across our campuses will actually go down. Now, as I said, this will be a local issue. And remember, room and board is overall part of the cost of attendance. And just as we've frozen tuition over the next 2 years, we've either made very, very modest changes to the housing costs or kept them flat or even reduced them. At UNK, for example, by far the lowest rate of living in housing of any of our campuses, there'll be a very modest $150 semester rise. In our Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture out in Curtis, the rates will rise there $45 a semester. Very, very modest rises and at or below the Regents ceiling that they could go up. For UNO, room and board rates will remain flat, not go up over the next year. Rates will remain the same as they were this year. I'm really proud to say at UNL, room and board rates will go down by 2.2% next year. And that story has been written in the press, by far the largest amount of room and board across the university system. I want to congratulate our chancellors and their team for providing significant savings to our students and their families. With that, I present these reports to the board.
Thank you, President. If there's no other comments, I will accept these above reports on behalf of the Board of Regents. I believe Regent O'Connor, you're next.
I believe Regent O'Connor has already certified that the responsibilities of the Audit Committee Charter have been carried out, and we will make sure that the minutes reflect that.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Regents go into closed session as authorized by Section 84-1410 of the revised statutes of Nebraska for the protection of the public interest and to prevent needless injury to the reputation of persons who have not requested a public hearing for the purpose of holding a discussion limited to the following subject: honorary degrees and awards.
Thank you, Regent Ferris. Is there a second?
Second.
I believe that was Jack.
Yes.
Stacia, could you roll call vote, please?
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Stacia. Regents will be reconvening in closed sessions via an alternative video conference link previously provided to you. We will return to this link to vote on the honorary degrees and awards prior to the adjournment of that one.
Okay.
I believe all the regents are back on.
Thank you, Stacia. Do we have a motion and a second for the agenda item about the awards, honorary degrees and awards? To approve those?
I move that we approve the actions of the committee forwarded to us for receiving the honorary awards.
Thank you, Regent Weiss. Is that you, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Was there any comments before we vote? Stacia?
Regent Moore,
Yes.
Regent Beal,
Yes.
Regent Miller,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yeah.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. And before we go for adjournment, I'd like to thank again Jim for everything you've done, and also thank everyone for putting up with me for a long distance presidentship, working our way through the script. But we stand adjourned, and we'll go directly to the Facilities Corporation meeting.